Welcome to episode number 5 of the Chris Rocket Podcast. I am, of course, Chris Rocket. And, very, very busy week around the league, right around the sports hub. We got, everybody else. Preseason games this week. We'll talk about that. You got Zeke being suspended. We'll definitely talk about that. Major trades in the NFL. We're going to get into all of that. Let's first start with the Zeke situation. Ezekiel Elliott has been suspended for 6 games. Of course, he has, he can appeal it and see if it can be reduced. This news came out yesterday. And looking at this, I'm gonna say this 2 ways, okay? And I'm going to take off my, Cowboys hat. On one hand, given the evidence, or alleged evidence that they have, well, I guess, especially, being, people, domestic violence is like a real touchy issue. I remember back when, homosexuality was a touchy issue. Feminism was a touchy issue. Now, you gotta watch what you say when it comes to stuff like this. And, if you're not careful, people be like, oh, so you're okay with domestic violence. No, I'm not. Okay. Let's get that straight. And I'm not going to cite any experience with that. I've never put my hands on a woman. Never will. I don't condone my sons doing that. Even, little girls that, because when kids, what kids do, they hit everybody. But I don't condone that. So let's make that clear. The thing that I have a problem with is the consistency with the NFL. That's the problem I have with it. And the problem that I have is that, and I'm not saying in this case, but I'm saying in past cases. In past cases, if you were accused of it, then you're blackballed pretty much. Just the fact that you were accused of it is enough to get suspended. And I don't want that to start. Not to say that Zeke was accused or falsely accused or anything like that. I mean, there were evidence citing that, I guess, I don't know. They were saying that the chick was a sex slave. I don't know. Some dominatrix type shit. I don't know. Nor do I really care this specific relationship between those two. But, there are people out there who cry wolf. There are people out there who just want attention. I'm not saying that's the case, but of course, NFL doesn't look at it that way because, okay, what if the NFL was like, well, this chick just want attention, and then another chick who has credible evidence, they're gonna treat her the same way. See what I'm talking about? But I don't have a problem with this suspension. I just want it to be consistent. That's the thing. I want it to be consistent. If it's 6 for him, let it be 6 for everybody. Josh Brown got 1. A guy who is admitted to it and was charged, he got 1 game. Now people might say, well, he hasn't played since, but I mean, he's a kicker. He's a kicker. He wasn't a really good kicker either, but he was suspended 1 game. Let's just look at it that way. Forget the skills, forget the position. He was only suspended 1 game. And there were many other instances where Andrew Quarles, I think he got 3 or 4 games. I really got to look this shit up though, because I don't want to just say wrong facts. But it was right around 3 or 4 games. I don't have a problem with the suspension. I just want to be consistent. And of course, in regards to how this affects the Cowboys, their schedule, doesn't look too good on paper. They got the Giants, which is obviously a tough game. Then they got the Broncos. Who knows who's going to show up that game? Cardinals. Then the Rams, who just got Sammy Watkins today. We'll talk about that later. Then the Packers. Then the bye week. And then the Niners. So his first game, if the suspension still stands, is the Redskins. And after that, you got the Chiefs, Falcons, Eagles, Chargers, Skins, Giants, Raiders, Seahawks, Eagles. So, if we can get out of this 3-3, I think we'd be in good shape. But like I said, man, who knows what Cardinals team is going to show up. I mean, I know they lost Calais Campbell. What team is going to show up right there? The Rams, who just got Sammy Watkins. How that offense is going to look. The Packers is always a tough game. But, if their cornerbacks is anything like they were last year, we should be fine. Yeah. And then the Giants, of course. I mean, that's always like, that's an L. I'm just going to say that's a loss. We're going to lose against the Giants because they upgraded on offense, and then, of course, their cornerbacks are top notch, man. So, once again, man, I'm glad he got suspended. I mean, of course, 6 games is a little bit too much. I say probably 3 or 4, but hopefully, for his sake, he knows what happened, and I'm just gonna go off because it already happened. He's suspended, so I'm moving on from it. Really, he just need to really just sit here and just really think about some shit, man, and know that he has to conduct himself a different way from a regular person like you and me. He's in the spotlight. You chew gum wrong, you spit it out. They're gonna be like, aha, you feel me? And then you play for the Cowboys. There's something about playing for the Cowboys or the Patriots to where, there are much more eyes on you. The Yankees, the Lakers, the Celtics, the New York Rangers, the New York Mets, Chicago Blackhawks, the Montreal Canadiens. But you have to conduct yourself a different way, man. And it's not a black or white thing. I'm not trying to make it like that. I mean, Zeke just really needs to take this time out and really think about some stuff, man. And hopefully, him hitting his pockets, because he's going to lose $500,000 with these suspension, and his $8 million guaranteed has been void now. So, really horrible day if you're a Cowboys fan like myself. But at the same time, if you're looking at the big picture, man, he needed this. It sucks that it had to get to this for him to learn, but he needed this. And hopefully he learns from this. I really hope he learns from this, just for his personal sake, not from a football standpoint, but from a personal standpoint, that he needs to conduct himself in a different way. He's a young dude. I think he's 23, 24. I don't know. He needs to conduct himself in a different way. He needs to conduct himself in a professional manner. Yeah, even though he's having fun, any 23-year-old be out there partying and doing whatnot. And, I mean, I guess if he would play for the Jaguars, this wouldn't have been a big of a story. But since it's the Cowboys, then whatever. But, hopefully he learns from this. Hopefully he could take this, sit back, and be like, damn, I really need to get my act together. And especially if the Cowboys go 1-5, 2-4, 0-6 in this stretch. Hopefully he learns. I hope he learns from a personal standpoint. Coming up in the Chris Rocket podcast, we'll talk about the major trades that went down and a few injuries that happened this week in the NFL. You're listening to the Chris Rocket podcast. And instead of a commercial break, I'm go ahead and play a little bit of music. I mean, it's my show. You know, you'll see why I want this music being played. Hope you like it. Tell me in the comment section if you did. If not, then I would like to hear that as well. We all family here. Oh shit, who is this? 1, 2, 3. Y'all gotta be kidding me. Y'all listening to his shit, but y'all ain't listening to me. Paralyzed to my shit, so y'all ain't feeling me. Keep playing, nigga, I'ma split you like a line of symmetry, nigga. You an exploding explosion, a corroding corrosion. Whack ass nigga, go retire, you an eroding erosion. Dope like a herb and ain't even high. Sell more than yours, nigga, and I ain't even try. Yeah, sit and try to be known. Genocide, I'm gone. In 05 I was told, drop the fire and I blow. 11 years come and go, straight progress with the flow. You want me to shine or just fall? Nigga, what side are you on? At this point I don't give a shit. Got down to see me fall, so catch a balance and live a bit. Your ass ain't better, so take your shit, reconfigure it. Your career in limbo, so raise the bar just a little bit. Picture my skills all diminished, bruh. Picture my career all finished, bruh. Picture me dreaming with no wishes, bruh. If you can picture them pictures, then forget ya. You say you own the kitchen, so nigga wash your dishes. Quit talking shit when you out of washing liquid. You like a bird and can't even fly. I'm a better rapper, nigga, and I can give you 8 reasons why. No delivery, no rhymes, no progression with no signs. Drop before you got signed, 0 hits since 05. Wax songs, none of that, then you worse than no time. Oops, I'm sorry, that's 9. Truth hurts, don't it, huh? Take the 6 and the 2, versus me with the flu. With Ebola times 2, with no tongue in 1 tooth. Gas chamber my booth, a deaf dude to produce. Drop on album same time, still gonna sell more than you. I'ma keep poking the bear, cause I feel like it. I'm number 1 and that's it. See you again September. 3rd game. Yeah, I decided to do a little different, man. If you like that song, man, you know, just kind of, you know, give me what you like, whether it's good or bad. You know, I've been doing this a long time, so I'm able to take, you know, constructive criticism. I'm not gonna get butthurt if you don't like it. You feel me? I just enjoy doing, like, I feel like I'm a man of many talents. You know, I know sports. I can make music. I don't consider myself a rapper. I just consider myself an artist. But yeah, if you like that, if you like the beat, you know, well, I didn't make the beat, obviously. You know, just tell me any aspect you want to tell me about the song. If you don't want to tell me about the song, that's fine as well. You know, I just want to, you know, I'm very proud of that track. It's been a long time since I actually made something like that. But yo, let's going to give you a rundown on a few injuries I saw this week and the major trades that went down, and trades that I felt like were pretty decent for both sides. Of course, I said it for almost every trade because I could find a way for both sides to win, but I really do feel like both teams won. a couple guys with major knee injuries. You had Trent Murphy out there in Washington. You had Billy Wynn, torn ACLs, out for the year, obviously. You had Demarius Randall with a concussion, and Malachi Dupree, who suffered a malicious hit. It was illegal. It was a clean hit, but man, he got knocked out cold. It looks like a concussion. Hopefully he's okay. I haven't heard anything since. But very tough week in regards to injuries. We had two really, really big trades that went down this week, man. We're going to get started with the one that I felt like they're both big to me. We have the Eagles trading Jordan Matthews and a third-round pick to Buffalo Bills for Ronald Darby. Now, the Eagles drafted Sidney Jones from out of Washington, and he's gonna be out for the year with an torn Achilles. I felt like this right here sets up a really, really good 2018 season defensively, because right now I feel like their cornerback group is the weakest of their defense. Now they have a really good front seven, especially their defensive tackles, man. Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan. I feel like their front seven is real good. Their Achilles heel is the freaking cornerback crew. You got Malcolm Jenkins back there holding it down, but he can only do so much. So this move right here, it closes the gap immensely. And then you bring in Sidney Jones, who I had top 5, top 6 cornerback coming out of the draft. Man, this cornerback crew with Darby and Sidney Jones is going to be, like DRC and Eli Apple out there in the Giants, And then a couple years from now, they could be like Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. That's just me. I feel like Ronald Darby is that talented. And if you look at it, Ronald Darby didn't have a good safety in Buffalo. When you're a cornerback that's aggressive like Darby, and you're not sure if your safety will help you over the top. Now, of course, some people might say, okay, if you're a shut down corner, you don't need help over the top. But you have to play within the scheme, you feel me? There's a certain way you play. It's almost like a point guard playing perimeter defense. He can afford to play a certain way knowing that he has a center that's going to protect the rim. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to get to the rim. The goal is to get in the end zone. So knowing that he has Malcolm Jenkins back there, Ronald Darby is going to, it's a wrap out there in Philly. And for the Bills, they get a guy because they already got Anquan Boldin. They have Anquan Boldin over there, and he is the possession receiver. He moves the chains. They have Marquise Goodwin. He's the deep threat. And then you bring in a guy like Jordan Matthews, who on a team where you just need someone that's consistent. Now, Anquan Boldin is consistent, you feel me? But he's up there in age. Jordan Matthews, to me, he isn't great, he isn't bad, he's just consistent as hell. And then you get a guy like Tyrod Taylor. He has another dependable guy to throw it to. Jordan Matthews he stays relatively healthy, so you can depend on him, just like Boldin. They lost Robert Woods. Now they get Jordan Matthews. They lost Sammy Watkins, who's the number 1 receiver. They get a number 1 receiver who's been a number 1 pretty much his entire career, Anquan Boldin. The question is, who wins? I think they both win. The Eagles, they address the position that's weak. And the Bills, they get a dependable receiver. They sign a dependable receiver in Boldin. And then they get a very consistent guy. They upgraded at number 2. Matthews is better than Robert Woods. I think it's just all about just putting all that together now. Just putting it all together and just seeing how this goes in a division where you're aiming for second place. Because we already know who's going to win the division. You're aiming for second place in this division. Now, with the Tannehill injury, Miami now, that number 2 spot looks a little bit more, plausible. The Jets ain't going no damn where. Now you have a real good shot of reaching that wild card. The other big trade that happened between the Bills and the Los Angeles Rams was pretty big to me, and it shifted a lot of my predictions for this one. That's how big this is. You had Buffalo trading away Sammy Watkins to the Rams for cornerbacks EJ Gaines or CJ Gaines and a second round pick. This is huge for me because the Rams, I felt like they needed a weapon. Now they have Tavon Austin, who is a weapon, but there's nothing like having a big receiver who is also a deep threat at the same time. And that's the guy that they've been missing for all these years. They get Sammy Watkins now. Sammy Watkins, he has the injury bug every now and then. So that's the question now. But as of right now, man, you got a guy who, well, Tyrod Taylor is the most accurate quarterback. Jared Goff, I guess now let's see if he worth that very high pick, man. Now you have a big receiver that you can kind of lob it up to. You have that big receiver that you can throw that slant route. You can kind of back shoulder fade. Because Brian Quick, he ran certain routes. Robert, who else was out there? Tavon Austin, all they did was do bubble screens and end arounds and all that kind of stuff. Now, it's going to open up everybody. Now you have a definitive number 1 receiver instead of just getting number 2s and 3s and converting them to number 1. Now you have a definitive number 1 receiver on that offense that desperately needs some kind of spark. Now the thing is, in that division, you have Patrick Peterson, you have Richard Sherman, and who else over there? Then you got the Niners. The Niners. Tremaine Johnson, he's not no slouch. He ain't no slouch at all. But still, now you have 2 threats. Now they don't have to dial in on Tavon Austin. Boom. Now that offense is opened up, and then guess what? Your running game gets better. When your passing game is credible like this now that running game opens up, and now you can control the clock, and that defense that's so good up front. Now they get a little bit more fresh. I like this trade. I like this trade for the Rams and also for the Bills. You give away Ronald Darby, and now you get back CJ Gaines. I don't really know much about CJ Gaines, but if you just gave away a cornerback to get a cornerback, boom, you balance out. But you also get a second round pick. Now you get a second round pick, and now you got a third round pick from that other trade. Second round picks are very premium, given the draft that just went by. The draft was deep, and I think I'm hearing that the draft is much deeper this upcoming draft. So having those assets, those early round assets like that, that's very essential in just building a nice young nucleus. And I think they need that now for the Bills right now. Like I said, they're in a race for number 2. They're a race for that wild card, and I still think their tight end is a liability. Their running game is okay. Now their passing game is like, okay, what is it going to look like? You got Matthews, you got Bolden. What tight end is going to, create that extra weapon? Of course, McCoy is always a threat coming out the backfield. The defense, let's see what the secondary looks like. Let's just see what it looks like. But for this particular trade, the Rams, I think, won because I feel like with the setup of that team, they needed some firepower on offense, and I think they got that. And now they're just hoping Watkins stays healthy. But I like this trade. But overall, I think that people both won. The Bills got The Bills got a second round pick, and the Rams, they get an offensive weapon. I like this trade, both sides. Coming up next on the Chris Rocket Podcast, I will be giving my rundown on the Week 1 NFL preseason games that occurred this week. My little analysis of the games that I watched and some players that I like. You are listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast.
People, why did you move to the Grand Sonora Desert?
I moved for the arid climate.
I really wanted a safe environment for my children.
I moved for the math.
It's not a mirage. It's a real trailer park. Imagine your new dream home in the Grand Sonora Desert. Imagine life in a place devoid of it. A place where you can be alone, go on hikes, and die of sunstroke. It's a place too boring for plants. It's the Grand Sonora Desert. Come live where there's nothing there.
Available in all good bookstores now. Chains of Intimacy by Terry Bolin. You always criticize guys for looking at porno. This is different. This is erotic literature.
I worked hard to be taken seriously as a woman in a man's world. Now I've realized it was all nonsense, and all I really wanted was a rich pervert.
It's time to free yourself from convention by doing exactly what everyone else is doing. Reading Drivel. And if you enjoyed Chains of Intimacy, pick up the other books in the series, The U-Bend of Intimacy and The Plug of Intimacy.
I'm a housewife. God, I'd love for a dashing billionaire to buy me diamonds and piss on me.
Chains of Intimacy by Terry Bolin. Available in all good bookstores now.
I'm a real big fan of GTA 5, but some of these commercials be like ridiculously hilarious or just plain old ridiculous. But yeah, let me know if any of these are offensive. Let me know. I won't play them. To be honest, these are my first time ever hearing these right around with you. Well, technically my third time, because usually when I do these audios, I do a full sweep looking for errors, because, I like to audio edit, everything to make sure it's presentable, But if any one of these are offensive to anybody, let me know. Whether you're going to comment or inbox me, let me know. I don't want to offend anybody. If you feel like, I guess as a professional, the more shows I do, I'm going to do less cussing and, using the N-word and all that stuff, because, we got different, ethnicities out there, and, I want to be respectful of everybody. So, and I'm capable of talking without, using profanity and lewd language and all of that stuff. I have a vocabulary the size of Jennifer Lopez's ass. Hopefully nobody's offended because I said Jennifer Lopez's ass. It's always that 1%. But y'all get what I'm trying to say. But very good week for the NFL preseason, don't you think? In regards to this week's preseason game, I was able to really watch 5 of the games that were played. I'm going to run off the scores for the rest of the game, starting with Jacksonville, New England. Jacksonville won 31-24, excuse me. Denver over Chicago, 24-17. The Niners over the Chiefs, 27-17. Cleveland 20, New Orleans 14. We have the Bengals beating the Bucks 23-12. We have a defensive battle where New York Jets won against Tennessee 7-3. And we have Arizona winning by 10 over Oakland 20-10. And the games I was able to really watch and get an analysis on was the Carolina-Houston game, Packers-Eagles, Baltimore-Washington, Rams-Cowboys, Giants-Steelers. So let's get started. In the Philadelphia-Green Bay game, I saw a few things. A lot of starters from Green Bay didn't play. No Aaron Rodgers, no Jordy Nelson, no Randall Cobb. Devontae Adams played a little bit. Ty Montgomery played a little bit. And they lost Demarius Randall to a concussion in his game. I'm going to get updates on that. Gotta holler at my Green Bay insider, Tony Seaman. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. But in this game for Green Bay, Trevor Davis, man, the number 11. Yo, that dude got that 99 speed, man. Took back a punt return, 69 yards, and had another good return. Like, that dude can fly. But damn, man, too bad Green Bay got like 27 wide receivers, man, you know. But, you know, they got a punt return. They got a legit punt returner. I think Michael Hyde ain't returning it no more, but Trevor Davis, man, he turned some heads on that punt return, man, you know. Another guy like Kevin King. Kevin King is I'm always just like the NBA and big man and, you know, wide receivers, big wide receivers. I like a cornerback that likes to tackle. And Kevin King is that dude that, you know, he has that awareness. He actually wants to tackle because, you know, a lot of corners, they kind of shy away from that. I call that the Deion Sanders disease. But Kevin King showed me some stuff, man. He's a sure tackler. He got beat one or two times today. Not today, but he got beat a couple times. But yo, he's a really good tackler, man, and he might be in the fold. Brett Hundley is getting better. You can tell that having another year under his belt, he's really getting comfortable. He really knows, have a feel for where the pressure's coming from. And he has a feel for what he's doing, reading his progressions, looking downfield, not always tucking it in and running all the time. You know, you can tell that he's getting comfortable. And that, I guess that's what happens when you're behind a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You soak all that in, soak in all the information, look at how he's doing it, because Rodgers is a pretty athletic quarterback as well. You look at how he's doing it, and you just kind of implement that in your own game. And I think that's what he did. And you can tell he's getting better. We'll see for the second preseason game, but I like what I saw out of Brett Hundley. For the Eagles, they lost way too many turnovers in that first half. They lost 3 turnovers. You know, 3 giveaways in that first half. You can't do that. More of the fumble variety. You got to hold on to that ball, and especially if you're on the bubble. And I felt like they turned the ball over way too much. And the monster in this game, for me, Derek Barnett, who was, for me, the number 4 defensive end in the draft. He was a monster. He was as expected for me. He was very active, got in the backfield, got a couple sacks. The dude is a monster. And the left tackle for Green Bay, you know, it wasn't a scrub. He got around there. He bull rushed him. He did a spin move, the swim move. He did all kinds of moves. He has all the moves as a great pass rusher should have. And it showed. The dude was very active. He got to the quarterback, and he was pretty decent in the run support. I feel like Derek Barnett is going to be, I think, a 10 to 12 sack kind of player. Especially, you know, in this division where left tackles are like, you know, unless you're the Giants, who has Eric Flowers, who was a turnstile today versus the Pittsburgh, he will be tested. Derek Barnett would definitely be tested in this division. You got Big Trent out there in Washington. You got Tyron Smith in Dallas, you know, and then you got, you know, Peters, you know, he'll be going up against him in practice. Yo, this guy is a monster. This guy is ready. And, you know, he was as expected today. In the Washington versus Baltimore game, on the Baltimore side of the ball, man, their defensive line is a monster. Their draft picks, Tyus Bowser and Chris Wormley, man, they look pretty good. They seem to fit right into the scheme. And, of course, you know, Baltimore has their reputation on being defensive-minded at all times, and that defensive line just doesn't, you know, miss a beat. And that Washington Redskins O-line is very underrated. So for them to make to you know, get penetration like they did from all aspects of that line, the interior and the exterior, it just shows how good of a defensive line that is. And of course, the linebackers with T. Suggs, they're coming through. They're coming through. So I was very impressed with the Baltimore defensive line. And on Washington side of the ball, the guy I was looking at was Samaj Perine. Had a couple mental mistakes, a drop pass, and he had a fumble. Of course, the drop pass, a penalty was on the play, but it was declined, so it counted. But Perine is going to have to show me a little something. Other than that, really didn't see anything that jumped out at me. Baltimore ended up winning this game. All right, starting with the Houston and Carolina game. On the Houston side of the ball, I felt like Tom Savage was very efficient. There was a drive when he went 8 for 8 for 61 yards. Very accurate with his throws. Fed DeAndre Hopkins. And I can kind of see why DeAndre Hopkins wanted him as a starting quarterback as opposed to Deshaun Watson. I guess mainly because he throws him the ball. But also his decision making is on point. He throws accurate throws, makes good audibles at the line. I felt like Alfred Blue had a strong game as well. I didn't realize how fast he was till I saw him today. Found the holes, really strong game. Deshaun Watson came in the game. His first completion was on a rollout to the right and completed a 7-yard pass to Sean Allen. I felt like a few of his throws were, if he can do it all over again, he'll do it different. He was, for the most part, dinking and dunking. So the stats is going to see that he was kind of accurate. I felt like he could be better. A lot of his throws were too high. Maybe it's, first game jitters. I don't know. But, pretty decent game. But the guy for the Houston side of the ball that I really, really like was D'Onta Foreman. That dude is a freaking monster, man. He is a monster. You can obviously tell that, this is a guy who wants that starting job at the running back position. Like I said, Alfred Blue had a strong game too, so you can almost sense that, Foreman is breathing down his neck. But Foreman, man, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And from the predictions, I remember saying the offensive side of the ball, don't worry about that, remember? It showed tonight. That first and second team, they were pretty strong. On the Carolina side of the ball, Kevin Benjamin, whether he came in overweight or whatever, it showed that, it didn't affect him. He was very strong. There was a play where he caught the ball and the defender bounced right off him. I'm talking about the defender had him lined up, ready to clock him. The defender just kind of bounced right off of him. Benjamin went on for another 5 to 7 yards. Cam Newton didn't play. He had off-season shoulder surgery, so Derek Anderson started. Derek Anderson did okay. He kind of did a Derek Anderson type job. He threw a really, really good pass to Kevin Benjamin on the touchdown. Benjamin had to make a athletic grab to go get it, more like a back shoulder type of throw, but very, very athletic catch. The rookie Christian McCaffrey, he did a pretty decent job as well. The offensive line didn't help. Didn't really get him enough holes to run through. I felt like for the blocking that he got, I thought he did pretty good, pretty decent. There was a couple runs where he broke out, 10, 11-yard runs. They were pretty impressive considering the blocking that he got, like I said. But the guy that I really, really like for Carolina is Damiere Byrd, a veteran for that team. I remember saying Curtis Samuel, maybe he'll replace Ted Ginn Jr., but damn, maybe Damiere Byrd might replace Ted Ginn. Byrd, who is like super fast. Always been a return guy, but he's showing the squad that maybe I can be a slot receiver. Caught 2 touchdown passes. I mean, he just obliterated the cornerbacks, man. The cornerbacks had no chance keeping up with him. He might be a short guy, probably like 5'8", but the guy can run, man. The guy can run, and obviously today showed that he got hands. In the Cowboys versus the Rams game, it was a very sloppy game to begin with. On the Rams side, they fumbled like 5 times early. And I think they only, lost only one of them. One of the fumbles ended up being a touchdown offensively because it kind of rolled forward and the guy covered it in the end zone and it became a touchdown. But for the Rams, that something got to be done about that running game. And I don't know if a lot of that's going to show in the regular season with the Watkins addition. But the running game, it didn't look good today. Gurley was playing, even though Mannion was actually starting. Todd Gurley, I don't know what's going on. And I heard a stat from the game. The first 4 games of his rookie season, he had 4 100-yard games. And the next 24 games, he only had 1 100-yard game. So I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the offensive line. I'm going to say the offensive line to give him the benefit of the doubt because that offensive line really was raggedy today. And to bring it, segue to the defensive end of the ball for the Dallas side, Taco Charlton finally showed me a little something, even though he got his sack versus the second string left tackle when he was working against Andrew Whitworth, who was a veteran, former Pro Bowler who played for the Bengals. I saw him get up the field a couple of times. I saw him do a nice inside spin move. Saw him get inside with the swim move. He actually did a lot better this game going up against a really good above average left tackle. And he showed me something today. And he's going to need a little bit more to that because, he got to do that against Big Trent. That's if they keep him on that right inside. If they had him at the left end, I think, he might have a little bit better, chance. But I think I keep him at the right hand side because he needs to learn. There'll be a good chance to learn because he's going against Tyron Smith. He's going against Big Trent out there in Washington. He had to go against Jason Peters out there in Philly. Now Eric Flowers, he's gonna have his days versus him though. But this will be a good test for him. He really showed me something today. There's one guy that I just don't have no idea why he's on the fucking field. Number 14. I have no idea. The dude runs like a damn penguin. I don't know why he's out there. I don't know why he's even on the roster. They got him returning punts for the Cowboys, and I don't see why he's out there. They had him at wide receiver today, and he was like, two perfectly lobbed passes in the air right where the ball needs to be, and he just couldn't come down with the ball. I don't get it. I don't know why he's out there. I don't even know why he's on the team because the team has like 37 wide receivers that can play. You got Dez, you got Cole, you got T. Will, you got Bryce, you got Switzer, and Noah Brown, probably, question mark. And then you got this fool. Number 14, I don't even want to say your name. I'm just going to say your number because you're not worth it. Horrible. You are very horrible. That's my analysis for the Cowboys-Rams game. And the Giants-Steelers game, clearly all eyes was on the rookie T.J. Watt and Joshua Dobbs. T.J. Watt had 2 early sacks, and everybody's like, going crazy over it. And I'm gonna give you 2 reasons why you should be happy and a reason why you shouldn't be happy. The reason why you shouldn't be happy is because it's Eric Flowers. Eric Flowers is a very horrible left tackle. He's too damn big. He's slow. He's, yes, he has a lot of power, but he's not as athletic. If you're fast, you're gonna go around him. And any spin move, any inside move, he cannot combat that. So TJ Watt did exactly what he needed to do, which is a good thing because it shows TJ Watt's athleticism going up against somebody so powerful as Eric Flowers and just using his speed to really get around him, really get to the quarterback. Now, one of the other sacks, it was just a simple misassignment, but you saw TJ Watt. He's like, okay, it's not my problem, and go right at the quarterback. I think for the people out there who know about Eric Flowers and like, hey, let's pump the brakes on TJ Watt. Here's the thing about it. When you have a brother, name anybody that has a brother who is great, and you tell me that they aren't good. Like, at least good. Think about that. all the people who had great relatives. Kelly Winslow Sr. and then Kelly Winslow Jr. Never mind what he did with the Jets. But when he played for the Browns and when he played for the Bucks, he was a damn good tight end. Think about that. And look at Ed McCaffrey and look at Christian McCaffrey. And then he has another son that's out there in Green Bay. And you can tell that greatness follows greatness, man. And I feel like TJ Watt, you know he trains with his brother in the offseason. I think TJ Watt is the real deal. You look at the skills, you look at all the things that he has. I think I had him pretty low because like in Wisconsin they had him, you know, all over the place. They had him at defensive tackle at one point. They had him at a defensive end. They had him at linebacker. When he was at linebacker, he was killing. And that's where the Pittsburgh Steelers have him listed right now. They have him as a rushing linebacker, a pass rushing linebacker, and he's killing it. He's killing it, and that's where he needs to be, and that's where he'll thrive. And I can also see him doing a little bit of damage in the coverage as well. But pass rushing, if they just say, "Hey, just go rush the quarterback," he's going to do that. TJ Watt is the real deal, and I'm calling it right now. And the other rookies in the game, Smith-Schuster out of USC, I like what they did with him. They got him the ball in different aspects of the game. They got him on the bubble screen. They got him on the end around. A little flat play. I think he's going to be fine. It's just the fact that, you know, you got Antonio Brown, you got Martavis Bryant. Maybe he does get that number 3 spot. Maybe he does. If he does, I can expect probably 50 catches for like 700 yards. And if Martavis Bryant, you know, acts right the whole season, or he doesn't act right the whole season, I could see Smith-Schuster getting into the 800s and the 850s, probably 6 to 8 touchdowns because he's that good. And you have a guy like Antonio Brown stretching the field and, you know, creating all sorts of mismatches for you. And also in a division where the cornerbacks, other than Joe Hayden out there in Joe Hayden out there in Cleveland, you really don't have any elite corners in that division. So he's going to have a lot of opportunities to get the ball. Ben Roethlisberger really good at spreading the ball around. But Smith-Schuster really showed me a little something today. That's my analysis for the Steelers-Giants game. Well, those were my analysis of the games from this week. We have a couple more games later on. You got the Detroit Lions and the Colts at 1:30 Eastern, and you got the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Chargers tonight at 8 p.m. And one more quick news nugget that happened. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers cut their second-round kicker, Robert Aguayo, who I felt like was like buying a Jolly Rancher for like $7. Now, the Raiders picked Janikowski in the first round along like a while back. I think that was 1999, either 99 or 2001. It was one of those years. Janikowski at least turned out to be, you know, good. Still high. I mean, if they picked him in the 4th round, it still would have been way too high. But at least Janikowski came through, you know, on some kicks. But Tampa Bay, for the condition that you're in, to pick a kicker in the 2nd round, you need your ass whooped. And if, you know, what's done is done, you picked them already, and I'm glad you learned your lesson. Now go to your room, go in the corner, and don't come out. You hear me? Okay, Buccaneers. But that's the show for this week. Very, very, very happy that football is in full swing. I'm going to, the Bryce Harper injury has happened, but I want to get a little bit more information before I really get into that. So I'm going to get into that. I know it's going to be, you know, it's going to be old news by the time next week comes, but I'm going to get Joe and I'm going to get Blake and I'm going to see if I can get Roy. I'm going to see if I can get an interview with Roy because he's a Nationals fan and, you know, that's his team. And I want to get his little intake on that. You know, few of my guys feel like, you know, they have opinions on that, and I want to get it, but I want to also get the medical information on that. That way we can have a lot of information by the time the show, you know, comes back around. But a very unfortunate injury to Bryce. We're going to get into that next week. We're also going to get into some more preseason football that's going to go down. I really appreciate y'all for listening. I have fun doing this, man. You know, as the more episodes I do, the more dynamic I'm going to get, the better I'm going to get. You have been listening to the Chris Rocky Podcast. I'll see you next week.